What is happening, you silly chickens? Thank you guys for coming in. I just want to go over a few things real quick, top line level data to get you guys in line and ready for this video. Fear and Greed Index sitting at 50 for the stock market, 11 for crypto. That is a huge disparity. I expect it to close. All right, GameStop short interest sitting at 66.7 million shares, a 10.15 days to cover. 16.33% of the float overall is sold short. That is tremendous, and this is even bigger. Dark pool volume on the day, 49.11%. That is shady stuff, guys. So let's jump into the charts because that's what everyone's here for. It's what I'm here for. And you did something pretty significant on GME today. You not only outperformed the S&P 500, you outperformed AMC, you outperformed IWM, and you outperformed Bitcoin, which you have 500 million in. So fascinating to see on GME. But what you did today was you came up and you slapped that 50-day EMA, guys. And what is so significant about that is you did it on higher volume, right? You saw a sell-off on 2-week volume days that were red, and you saw a nice bullish engulfing candle on nice volume. Now, although you rejected the 50-day EMA, it is not the end of the world because, in my opinion, I do believe that this move will scale up if you have IWM not falling to its grave, right? And if AMC sees a nice little bounce, and I do believe you're going to make one of these kinds of moves, then you're going to come back up and fill this gap right around 2350 to 2320, and then that's where you find your rejection. Now, of course, there's external things that can affect this. Michael Burry, Roaring Kitty, Ryan Cohen, right? These characters can come in and absolutely send this thing to the moon, and I hope for the sake of my own investment that happens, right? Don't get me wrong. I am long to the absolute you-know-what on GME, and I hope for the best, but the chart is telling me that you have a fake-out breakdown right now, and I think you're hightailing to go and fill that gap before you find that lower low in price action. Because my thesis remains that so far since May of last year of 2025, you've been in this falling wedge formation. Now, in case you guys don't know, falling wedges are bullish reversal formation patterns. And when they break significantly. They break hard. You see volume step in, right? You see shorts cover. And I expect no different here. I expect GameStop to do something freaking nasty and freaking phenomenal. As you can see, this was a falling wedge we talked about. You broke it after just absolutely sideways trading. You can see the amounts of dojis in here are absolutely uncanny and ridiculous, but you broke that falling wedge, slapped the bottom of this upside support, and then now you're seeing that gap fill. So if you do fill that gap, guys, I do expect volume to weaken, and then if that is the case, maybe a rejection. If volume picks up here, maybe you blast through it, right? That's the best case scenario. Kind of. I'd like to see this falling wedge play out, but on the weekly time frame, you're still so freaking close with this green day to flipping the weekly MACD green again, and that would be your trigger, right, to go and explore higher prices. But for the meantime, you remain tight on the weekly MACD, one of my favorite indicators, guys. And then on, let's see, on the 4 hour, you're printing a doji. You have the 9-day EMA. You just had a little bit of movement up. 9-day EMA about to slide to the 50. Now, if that happens, I expect this thing to rise. But you can see here just the sequence of events. Market makers have very much so been trying to shake people out here. You saw the rising wedge, rejection, symmetrical or ascending triangle, fake breakdown, fake break up, fake or breakdown, and then now you're seeing this huge candle up 5% today. So absolutely beautiful day. when you look at the markets, you see SPY down, what was it? SPY down, what is that, $1? Not significant. IWM is the bigger thing to talk about here when you're talking about the meme stocks, AMC, GameStop, NEO, right? You can see here you have this topping candle making the all-time high on IWM, and my thesis does not change. You are absolutely bullish on IWM. You're retesting the 9-day EMA, and you've seen this bearish engulfing and continuation down. So if you break beneath this 9-day EMA, guys, I do believe you're coming down to the 50, sitting at 244. So beware, because the stock market might see a little bit of, well, yuck, right? You might see a little bit of crypto pulling the market down, because crypto is in an endless spiral right now. Just absolutely bloody. Unless you see a reversal, you are down 36% on Bitcoin. Yuck, right? Disgusting. But what I was watching for on IWM is you have an absolutely pitch perfect head and shoulders here. So the reason I say that is you have to be careful for head and shoulders when you're invested in small cap stocks. This is your small cap stock basket. And this kind of plays into the thesis of dropping down to 244, 248, right? That's your price target from the falling wedge, and you're almost practically there, right? You're at 249. So no surprise to see this bearish reversal here, but just be careful because you have your 9-day, 4-hour 9-day EMA about to cross the 50. So this might not be over, and you might look to find support on the 200. But that's what I got on GME and IWM. I wanted to cover AMC because AMC did something super, super important. But before I do, guys, slap the subscribe button. I am here every single day for you guys for free, just trying to lift the vibes, lift the energy of the morale of the team, and make some friends along the way, right? I started in AMC. That was my first ever owned stock back in 2020, and the community around AMC was one of the liveliest and most engaging as a trader, as a new trader coming onto the scene. Helped me learn so much about the financial markets. So I want to recreate that retail revolution, right? And let us be the way in which we do it, right? But AMC, let's jump into it because you made another all-time low today. Absolutely disgusting. But as you can see here, we actually had it drawn out. Now, it happened a lot faster than I had expected. This was a little George W. schematic from your previous all-time low where you made a slightly lower low, right? And you're making that lower low now. Now, I don't anticipate this to be it. I think there is still a little bit more of downwards price action. And the reason I believe this, guys, is because of your volume profile, the fact that you closed at the bottom of the candle, your daily MACD being red crossed today. These are all very, very, very bad signs, right? And I'm not saying this to be a shill or a bear. Oh my goodness, that burp. I freaking love this company. I love AMC. I love the community, what it stands for. And so I am fighting for you guys. I'm here for you guys. And I want to find a bottom on this. There are some good signs that we can talk about. The first one being, let's pull up TradingView. Because TradingView has the RSI. Now, what you did today, I know we've been talking about bullish divergence in the weekly time frame for quite some time, guys, and it might get a little exhausting. But this is what you have to do when you're looking for these bottoms. You have to look for bullish divergence, and you made one today on the daily time frame. Now you can say that this is a channel that you now have established, right? But you made bullish divergence, and it was strong bullish divergence at that, right? You see this uptick in the uptrend. You see this, how dramatic that downtrend is. That is significant daily divergence right there. So I do expect something to happen. I don't know what is going to happen, and I would like to close the week above $2. I think that's the biggest thing for AMC right here at these levels. If you go to the weekly time frame, you can see you are actually still making another touch of bullish weekly divergence. That is absolutely huge, guys, seeing as though you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 now touches against this uptrend. Holding this is going to be everything. Because if you break this uptrend, and you're close to doing it, right? You're on the way to doing it. If you do not find a bounce, you could be looking at a significant lower price, right? 170 to 150. Now, if this is truly a run back of 2021 and 2020 where you had that significant bullish divergence right here where my cursor is, while you also made flat to lower lows, right? This is that period right here. Made a George W, and the last part of it, you made a lower low in price. Now, you made a higher low here. So this is what these bullish divergences can do, right? You can see these nasty run-ups from them, and I don't see why you shouldn't do it right now, unless you invalidate it. If you invalidate it, well, we're looking for different reasons then. But it's just tough. It's tough on AMC charting something that's at the all-time low. And this is the best way that I know how. So in the monthly time frame, you're really not getting at anything. It's a bad monthly. My schematic and my thesis remains the same, though. On AMC's quarterly chart, guys, you still have the quarterly MACD closer than it has ever been to crossing since 2020 and 2021. Now, I don't know where you're going to find this bottom, but I do anticipate a bottom will come and you will have a large upswing because of that MACD cross in the quarterly time frame. Just one example is a little bit of a scandalous one now that AMC has sold them, but HYMC, right? Textbook example, seeing as though you made your quarterly MACD cross 2024, you're now up 635%, guys. And that's just one, right? I can go countless of examples over and over and over, but this is what I'd like to see for AMC. I need to see some kind of long wick bottoming candle, and I can take you guys through on AMC, on Amy girl, what your last couple of bottoms look like on the daily time frame, right? This is not a bottom candle, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I'd love to be wrong. That is a bottom candle, right? That is your textbook bullish hammer candle. That is a bottoming candle. That is a textbook bullish engulfing candle right there, literally eating up the previous day's price action. So I would absolutely love to see something like that because, in fact, that came off of bullish divergence. This was your bottom. You made a lower low the next day, but then just absolutely ate up the previous trading day's candle. So I am looking for one of those candles, right? You need the bulls to step in and regain and reign control, because once you're able to do that, I mean, once you're able to accomplish that, what was it that I was looking at? I was looking at something pretty significant. That is what it was. All right. Once you're able to accomplish that, if you can see some kind of bullish hammer candle, bullish engulfing candle, right, off of high volume, what I'm watching for then is this break of this pretty steep trend line, smashing AMC down all the way to from 317 all the way down to the all-time low. Now, if you're able to break this, which I anticipate you will next time you come up to this range, if this is indeed a George W formation, right, then I would anticipate a little bit harder of a run on this right side of this leg, right? And probably up to this flat top resistance. We'll make it the point. This flat top resistance sitting at around 244 to 250 is going to be so significant on AMC because not only, guys, is it your neckline of this George W, of this double bottom formation, it's your previous all-time low, this all-time low. So smashing through this is going to be absolutely pivotal on this next upswing if this is indeed your AMC macro bottom. If you don't, I'm expecting lower prices.